All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another episode of the Just Ballin' Podcast, and today we are going to talk about 2024 NBA Draft Sleepers. So the draft is a few days away, and I want to talk about some guys that I think are getting kind of undervalued right now. Like, I'm not going to talk about how much, like, Ron Holland is undervalued or Isaiah Collier, because they're definitely undervalued right now, especially if they fall outside the lottery. I'm going to talk about guys that are going to go in the late first or second round or potentially undrafted that I'm a big fan of in this upcoming NBA draft. I'm going to be giving you guys 6 different sleepers, trying to hit multiple different positions as well. And we're going to kind of go through why I think that they are undervalued. For the schedule for this week on the pod, so it's going to be, I'm kind of debating on what I want to do because obviously it's a big week. We got the NBA draft on 2 different days. We have free agency. So I think you guys are going to get my mock draft, official mock draft breakdown on Wednesday. I already posted the video on YouTube on the Ross channel, but I'm going to break down each pick a little bit more. And then obviously if we get a trade until then, I may change it up. So you guys will just make sure you're subscribed for that and make sure you're following along with the pod for that update. And then you guys will get another episode this week that maybe will be my free agency predictions. Maybe it'll just be like a draft recap. Maybe I'll do a combination of those two, and I'll talk about like the first round for each pick, and then or just like some I guess some bullet points from the draft, the major topics, and then I'll talk about my free agency predictions on the pod this week. So make sure you guys are following along. So you guys should definitely still get 3 episodes this week, so just be on the lookout for that. And we can hop into my first sleeper. So I think he's a sleeper. He may be the only guy that I think has a chance to go in the top 20 here. And I've talked about him a ton, and I'm really high on him, and it's Tyler Smith of the G League Ignite. So we give Ron Holland the benefit of the doubt. We definitely have been giving Montes Buzelis the benefit of the doubt for how bad and how dysfunctional the G League Ignite was last season. And I think Tyler Smith at times was the best player on the Ignite. I think at times he was more than not like the second best player on the Ignite. I think Holland was number 1, and I think Smith had a lot of time where he was the second best guy, and Buzelis was number 3. And I definitely would have been talking about Ethan Almanza because I love his touch around the rim, and I think that dude has a really good post game right now. But he did not declare for the 24 draft. He withdrew, and he's going to be in the 2025 draft. So I'm not sure where he's going. I don't know if he's really decided that, actually, which I'll kind of look it up and see if that ends up happening. But for Tyler Smith, he is someone that is, what is he, 6'10 right now. He's about 224, and he's kind of a tweener. Like, somehow let's put him as like a wing. He's not a 3. He's definitely a 4 or a 5. And I think somehow let's even have him at 6'9". I think he's 6'10". Like, the dude's pretty tall. At the combine, he felt tall. And he's someone that's got a 7'1" wingspan. He's got a great ball handle right now. This dude can fit. I think he can really handle the rock. He can make a jab step move. He's good in the half court. And I also think he can create separation, which is a very rare trait for big men just in general. And this dude has a good step back jumper, a good kind of just pull up in general. And that's why I think he would be a steal in this draft. Like, if he falls out the top 25, and you guys know I'm a Knicks fan, if he's on the board there at 24 and 25, why not take the chance? He should not make it past Washington at 26. Like, Utah has the 29th overall pick. I would love him in Denver as well, because I think he could even play alongside Nikola Jokic, because he could space the floor and he can catch alley-oops perfectly into that Aaron Gordon role at times. So Tyler Smith, in my opinion, should be someone that should be going in the top 20, but it seems like that's not going to happen. So he's going to be probably the highest overall guy that I'm going to talk about here. There are some defensive questions. I think at times there's bad defensive awareness, but once again, the G League Ignite was really bad where I'm watching this, and the off-ball defenders, even like Buzelis and Holland at times, like I'm going to kind of harp on them for this. And Tyler Smith at times, not a great off-ball help guy. You're really out there on an island at times. Nobody's really switching, communicating as good as you'll get at the NBA level. And if Smith is playing in Utah with Walker Kessler, or if he's playing in Milwaukee with Giannis, like these, it's going to be night and day from what he just experienced in the Ignite. And I think he absorbs contact on both ends of the floor, and he goes straight up. There could be some fouling issues, but I really don't think it's going to be that noticeable where it's going to be an issue like early Mitchell Robinson or Jaren Jackson. And I think his ability to put the ball on the ground, can dribble for his size, can pull up in like off the dribble, and can work the pick and pop better than any big man in this class probably, at least right now. Like maybe at Alex Sarr's peak, maybe at Khalil Ware's peak, but right now he's got one of the nicest pull-up jumpers in this class for a big man, and I think he will play, man. I think he's a good defender, though. I think the awareness, yeah, at times could be in question, but he can block shots, he can get into passing lanes, and then he can dart down the floor. He's pretty quick. He had, what, an 8-9 standing reach at the combine. He tested good in the agility, the shuttle, the three-quarter sprint, and in the max vertical, 38 inches as well. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Tyler Smith. I think he's someone that should go in the top 20. It's looking like it's more likely that he doesn't go in the top 20, but I think he's turning into a draft sleeper. All right, we're going to stick on the big man topics here, and I'm going to talk about Adem Bona from UCLA. I've talked about it a ton, man. Like, my experience at the Combine, I will say, I did not watch a lot of Adem Bona throughout the regular season this year. I really wasn't tuned into a lot of UCLA games, and, man, I tuned into a bunch after I went to the draft Combine. This dude was a joy to watch this past season, like kind of looking back on the film and then looking what he did at the Combine. Man, it sticks out. He has one gear and it's 100%. This dude is running up and down the floor, tested super well in the max vertical, 40 inches. Great in the lane agility for somebody of his size. Great in the shuttle cone. Great in the three-quarter sprint. Yeah, there's maybe a wingspan, like it's a limited wingspan out there, but actually, I don't know. It's 7'3". It's 7'3". He's 6'9". He's probably not 6'10". He's from Turkey. He's 21 years old. And I think he's someone, like, if he went in the first round, I am more than okay with it. I don't know if they have a second rounder, but a team I would love. Yeah. Like, if he's there at 43 to the Miami Heat, oh my God, that will be my favorite second round draft pick because he could fit that Heat culture. If there's a team going the other way after a long rebound and you got to get back on transition, this dude is going to make a chase down block. He's going to get there. He's going to hustle and get back there on the defensive end of the floor. I think he has a higher motor than any other big man in this class for sure. And he's someone that can make winning basketball plays. He's going to throw his body on the line. He's going to dive for loose balls. He's going to try to contest any shot. You want to poster him, Anthony Davis? Good luck. Like, you may do it, but he is not going to go down without a fight. He is not getting out of the way. He's going up and trying to rim protect any shot out there. And that's what I love about him. Like, he's 6'9", but he plays up than that. Like, he feels like he's someone that will move around like he's 6'11", 7 foot, trying to block stuff out there. He's great in the passing lanes. And then when he gets into the passing lanes, he is darting down the court. He's as quick as some of these wings and guards in this draft. And I am just a big Adem Bona fan. I think he can get rebounds, block shots, facilitate a little bit, and can honestly be a really efficient scorer inside. He shot 59% last year for the Bruins, man. There was some really fun games watching on film last season. Like, there was a really fun USC game where I thought he was just a monster on the boards. There was a fun Oregon State game where he looked great offensively. You watched that Arizona State game was the beginning of March, middle of March? Hold on, I have it up actually. It was the beginning of March. Yeah, he is just a really good player, man. He has a high motor, and I think that plays at the NBA level. Like, getting someone that's going to give 100% effort on both ends of the floor is someone that can really make a long career for himself in this league. And that's why at the Knicks at 24 or 25, I think he'd be great under Tibbs' system, and he's someone that could just get you 8 to 12 minutes a night of just like those dog minutes. Like, he's going to be grinding and doing the dirty work out there. And that's winning basketball, man. Those are the guys that can make really long careers on really good teams in this league. Those are like your PJ Tuckers of the world that just keep earning contract after contract on good team after good team. You may hate him, but Patrick Beverley does the same thing, man, right? Like, he's still playing, still getting contracts in this league because he wants to win more than anybody else. And I do think Adem Bona has that in him. Yeah, I think he does make some boneheaded like plays. Like, he turns it over a decent amount. There's questionable passing decisions, but hey, I think you can fix that at the NBA level, and I would love to use a late first, early second on him. And in mocks, he's going like mid to late second, which I think classifies him as a sleep. Another guy that I like a ton in this class is Cam Christie, and I like him a ton because he's projected to go in the second round, and I'm fine with that. If Cam Christie was projected to go at like 15, I'd be like, I don't really know if I like that a ton, but hey, Cam Christie, one of the younger guys in this draft, still 18 years old. 6'5", 6'8" wingspan, about 190. Definitely needs to get a little bit stronger, in my opinion. But I thought, like, was not bad at Minnesota this past season. He's a really good shooter, and I think he was someone that was going to make a lot of money in the NIL if he did enter the transfer portal, which I do believe he was doing if he didn't declare for this upcoming NBA draft. And he had an inconsistent season, but man, like mid-January on, he was great. He had a great game against Northwestern, kind of kept that going with Michigan State game. Iowa, played really good against Purdue, had a really nice game against Illinois and Terrence Shannon in late February, and then another good game against Penn State. There was question marks, like Minnesota's not a really good team. They haven't been a good collegiate team in quite some time, but he tested well at the combine. He's quick, he's agile, he can get to the rim, he can maneuver through defenses, and I think he's someone that's going to be able to get to the rim at his peak in this league, and he's got a good size. I think he tries on defense. I wouldn't say he was a great defender last year at Minnesota, but I think the motor's there. I think the want to be good on the defensive end of the floor is there. And I think that's like, he's not like a Dembona level motor hustle out there, but I think he does try. And I think he's going to be a good 3-point shooter in this league at the bare minimum. He did shoot 40% from the field last year for Minnesota and 39% from 3, but I like the form. He's a solid free throw shooter. He can get to the line a little bit. I think could work on wanting to absorb more contact and embrace the physicality at the rim and try to get to the line a little bit more, but he doesn't turn the ball over. He can make the extra pass. He can knock down some shots. Great off like the dribble. Great like catch and shoot, I think. And that's going to play at this league. I think he does it well, like just as good as like Keyshawn George or Jalen Tyson or Jacoby Walter, guys that are projected to go in the first round. You can find that value in Cam Christie, who's like 4 years younger than some of these other guys. Like I said, he's 18 years old. Baylor Shireman is 23. Or is he 24? Baylor Shireman is 23. He's going to be 24 kind of soon. Tristan Da Silva's 23. These guys are on the older side, and at least in Cam Christie, you got 5 more years of development than some of these other guys that are going in this upcoming NBA draft. So I think that's why there's a lot of value in Cam Christie here in this draft, and I think if you're getting him in that 40 range, I'm okay taking a flyer on him. I think that would be a wise decision to do, and that's why he's coming in as another sleeper for me. All right, Jonathan Mogbo is definitely a sleeper in this class. He caught my attention at the combine as well because it was nice court vision. Like, I knew about Oso Ighodoro's court vision. I thought he could have been a first-round pick for most of the collegiate season. Now he's like a fringe first. Like, I'd take him in the top 40, maybe not in the top 30, but somebody that caught my attention for being a good facilitating big man at the combine was Jonathan Mogbo from San Francisco. He's had a very long collegiate career spanning from a couple different schools, and he is, I believe, 22 years old right now, and he's 6'6", so it's like a weird spot for him to be as a big man. He spent the 23 season playing for Missouri State. Then he played at Independence Community College back in 2021, and then Northeastern Oklahoma A&M College. Like, College Basketball Reference didn't even have any stats for this, but I think Mogbo shares some traits than Dembona. Definitely not as versatile as a defender just because he's 6'7", but he does have a 7'2" wingspan, which is very good, and he's very quick. He's one of the bigger or quicker big men in this draft. He's about 6'7" in shoes right now, and he definitely feels a little bit smaller out there, like 6'7". You're like, oh, that could be a really tall shooting guard. That could be a small forward. No, he's like a power forward / center, as he is not taking threes, but he's very smart on what shots he's taking around the rim, right? He's someone that's not really going to have any bad shooting games, and he was pretty consistent in a respected conference. Like, the WCC is a good conference with Gonzaga, with St. Mary's, with, he would play, Boise State. I don't know if he played BYU last year, but, you play, Pacific and Pepperdine. These aren't slouches. This obviously isn't, ACC basketball or Big East basketball, but it's still solid competition out there. We've seen plenty of guys come from the WCC that have been drafted high, most recently that's worked out in I don't know if Santa Clara is in the WCC, but I know Brandon Bojemski at St. Mary's WCC, right? It's not uncommon, or Chet Holmgren at Gonzaga. So Mogbo has the competition. He doesn't turn the ball over as much. He's someone that I think facilitates great, and he's a little bit of Tari Easton to me, right? He's 6'7", but he hustles for loose balls. He can go up and out rebound much taller guys next to him, and I think that's a very valuable trait at the NBA level. Being able to have a 37.5 max vertical for somebody at 6'7" is pretty impressive. A 9-foot standing reach for somebody that's 6'7" is very impressive. Good wingspan, and I think just makes winning basketball plays. And I think he's someone that can go pick 45, pick 50, that you're looking 3 years down the line, that's the 7th most important guy on a really good playoff team, and you're like, all right, this was an absolute draft steal looking back to the 2024 NBA draft. And I think Mogbo checks off a lot of those boxes, and I think he's going to be a very nice sleeper for whatever team ends up drafting him. So I'm pretty high on him. I know we've talked about a couple different big men so far. Do I have another big man on my list? I don't believe I do. So yeah, going just to kind of recap, Tyler Smith from the Ignite, Cam Christie from Minnesota, Dembona from UCLA, and Jonathan Mogbo from San Francisco. And next up, I want to talk about Trey Alexander from Creighton. Yeah, a lot of attention's been on Baylor Shireman. And if you would have asked me like towards the end of the college season, who's getting drafted higher, Trey Alexander or Baylor Shireman, I would have been like, what type of question is that? Like, what are we doing here? But yeah, Trey Alexander might not get drafted, which is kind of crazy. He's a junior, spent the last 3 years at Creighton. He's pretty much mocked to go late first, and I was a very big fan of Trey Alexander. Really nice like kid too. Like, I talked to him brief moment at the combine, and he was really nice to me. And he's someone that averaged 17.5 points last year for Creighton, 5.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists. Like, I think screams combo guard. Shot 45% from the field, 34% from three. 34% from three, 82% from the line, and is a good free throw shooter. Like, this dude is going to be a very good shooter. I guess like the appeal coming out after his sophomore year could have maybe earned him a first round spot since he was a year younger and he was coming off a better shooting season, but he was able to take more shots this year for Creighton, and he still, I think, was a very good shooter. Yeah, 34% is a little disappointing after he shot 41% last year. But the shot looks great. The form is good. It's a quick release. He's got a good free throw percentage. All the, like, that checks off a lot of boxes that he could be a solid shooter at the NBA level. And yeah, he's 3 years older than Cam Christie. He's better than Cam Christie right now, though. And I think he's someone that can create his own shot. He can create separation. He has the will to go out and be like, all right, I'm going to get to my spots. I'm going to try to beat this guy off the dribble and be aggressive. And I love that in a prospect for sure. And I think he's like lanky enough where he's going to be fine defensively. I mean, he should put on some weight. He's pretty skinny at about 185 right now, but he's got a great wingspan at 6 feet 10 inches for someone that's 6'4". That is great. He's quick. He's not like super athletic. Like, he's not going to jump like out at you, and he's not going to jump out of the gym, but he's someone that can play make. He can get rebounds. He can get to the line and also be a good free throw shooter. And he's not going to turn the ball over. And I'm a big fan of like Trey Alexander. Out of all the guys we've talked about, he probably played in the biggest games last year, playing for one of the better collegiate basketball teams in Creighton. They were like a top 30 team for most of the year. Played in the Big East. Played with a lot of talented guys out there like Ashworth and Kalkbrenner and Baylor Shireman, who's in this draft. So I think Trey Alexander has turned into kind of an underrated guy and a sleeper in this upcoming draft. And the last guy I want to talk about is going to be Isaiah Crawford out of Louisiana Tech. I will say I didn't watch a single game of Isaiah Crawford until a couple weeks ago, or pretty much after the combine, where people started talking about him, or at least I heard like, all right, you should watch out for Isaiah Crawford. Like him and Nick Clifford from Colorado State, who I believe withdrew from the draft. I would have talked about him as well. But he's someone that kind of like stood out to me in Isaiah Crawford when I was watching his games at Louisiana Tech, which I'm pretty sure, I'm going to look it up now because I'm pretty sure that's where Elfrid Payton went. If I can actually look it up on Basketball Reference. All right, they just don't want to tell me whatsoever. So Elfrid Payton, he went to, was it Louisiana Tech, or am I tripping? I don't know why it's like impossible to find this. No, he went to the University of Louisiana, Lafayette. Okay, that's where he ended up going. But Isaiah Crawford is someone that can get buckets, man. That's pretty much what he's really good at. He was a really good three-point shooter last year for Louisiana Tech. Shot 41% from three from downtown, 49% from the field. Great in the passing lanes. This dude may be one of the best steal getters in this draft. Averaged 2.1 steals. Great steal percentage for his team. He's 22 years old, and he's 6'6", 220. Good size, good frame. I don't think he really needs to work on putting on a lot of weight. And he's just going to be, I think, an efficient guy. I wish he was a little bit better from the free throw line, because he can get to the line for sure. He took 5 attempts a night last year. Like, that's a really good free throw rate. And 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 assists for a wing. Like, that's very valuable for someone that I think, like 41% from three, this guy could definitely be, I think, a valuable 3-and-D guy at the NBA level. And if you're taking that in the second round and like you can get him on like that 4-year, very like cheap rookie contract for the second round, I think that's very valuable. He spent all 5 years at Louisiana Tech, which was smart. He was able to develop and get better each and every year. He only played 3 games in his sophomore year. He had obviously an extra year from COVID eligibility, and he was really good in his senior year, which kind of like a true senior year because he only played 3 games in his junior year. And then got 2023 to be his junior year, 2024 to be his senior year, and he really stood out, and I think is going to get drafted on draft night. And pretty much in second round mocks, he's going like late second, and then in some I won't see him in general. But I wanted to give a shout to Isaiah Crawford from Louisiana Tech. I think he's got 3-and-D, like 8th man in the rotation written all over him, and that could be a couple contracts in the NBA. And if you're getting that at 58 or 55, like that's phenomenal value. Some other guys that I do like that are going in the second, like Cam Spencer, like him a ton. Questions with the outside shot, but questions with the athleticism, but he's got a good looking outside shot, high basketball IQ, can play off of 2 feet, could be a nice guy in this league. I'm a big fan of Jalen Bridges as well. I don't think I would take Jalen Bridges in the top 45, but I think if you're getting him at 55, it's also good value because he is not afraid of big moments and he wants to get to the rim, get downhill, and score some buckets, basically. Jamal Sheed, he's 6'1" from Houston, but this dude is a dog defensively. And if he becomes a solid shooter in this league, he could have some value. He wasn't really a good shooter at Houston last year and is not going to really try to create his own shot, but this dude is one of the best point of attack defenders in this draft. There's the appeal in Nikola Jurisic, who played at Mega Basket last year. He was at the Combine. He's staying in the draft. Probably going to be a second rounder. May need a couple years of development. Maybe just a draft and stash guy. Like he may go play overseas for a year or two, but you're going to own his draft rights. So I think he has some appeal because of his playmaking ability and what he could do on the defensive end of the floor at his peak because he's 6'8", but he's 200 pounds. So he definitely needs to put on a little bit of weight. And then like Osei Ogadoro, I think one of the better passing big men in this draft. KJ Simpson really showed out at the Combine. Can facilitate, can get guys open, and then can also run in transition. So those are guys that I'm pretty much big fans of that are probably going to go outside of Tyler Smith in the second round or later, potentially undrafted. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. Drop a thumbs up if you did, if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, I would appreciate a rating and review over there as well. And yeah, make sure you guys are following because I'm going to do all draft stuff and you guys will get my breakdown of my final mock on Wednesday, and I'll catch you all there.